Let's bring in another voice on this. Former Spirit Airlines CEO and the current JetBlue board director, Ben Baldanza. Ben, thanks for being here today.
Great to be with you, Becky. Thank you. Good morning.
What do you think about these packages, the loans and the grants that have been given? What's your take?
Well, I think they're really two different things. The grants are all about keeping employment up, and it's almost like an expense report for an employee. The airline pays the employees and then shows the government that they've made those payments, and the government will pay them back for that payroll for a period of time and for the cap that they've put on it that goes to each airline. The loans are different. The loans are a form of liquidity that some airlines will take. I think some won't take the loans, and it's not really clear who's going to do what until we know all the details of what the terms of the loans are going to be. An airline that's looking at the loan is going to be comparing that to their own liquidity on hand, to their other sources of liquidity, if they have any, and what are the terms of this government loan versus other options they may have.
What's that situation for Spirit? I realize you can't say everything, but as a member of the board of directors, what do you think Spirit's likely to do?
Well, again, I'm not on the board of directors of Spirit, so I can't speak to what Spirit's doing. I can watch what Spirit's
I'm sorry, at JetBlue.
Yeah, and I can't speak specifically to what JetBlue's doing, obviously, as a board director. But what I can say is that the industry as a whole, like Phil said, is very active and very proactive here. Airlines are cutting flights where they're not generating cash from those flights. They're cutting out all discretionary cash spending. They're offering time off to employees who might want to take it, and they're looking at ways to lower payroll costs even with the grants. For example, paying people their minimum time rather than overtime and things like that. So the industry is very actively doing what it needs to do, deferring deliveries, not flying flights that would lose cash, cutting discretionary spending, and I think that's the right thing.
Ben, do you think that this will change Americans' behavior just in terms of their willingness to fly, even once this whole issue has kind of gotten through?
Well, that's a big question, and I think there is probably some to that. You know, as we're all learning, as we shelter in place and see where you are and you see where I am and things, right? As we're all learning how we can do business, maybe not as personal as we used to. I actually worry more about the business travel long term than the leisure travel. I can see that at some point when we're all comfortable going to restaurants again and comfortable that gathering isn't going to be a risk for us at some point in the future, I can see leisure travel coming back strong and full. I mean, you're not going to take your vacation through Zoom or Skype, right? But business travel, I could see some permanent or some longer-term lag to bring back business travel as businesses are learning how to do business remotely and learning it can work and learning that they can be quite productive even without some of the travel. So that's my fear longer term. What I hope for the industry, Becky, is that the industry just gets better about how it thinks about biological safety. The industry has done a really good job of safety as it relates to airplane flying and not having, not hurting people through flying and things. But this idea of being clean and being biologically safe and how we sanitize our surfaces and how we train our people to understand how to do that well and how customers can be comfortable in the airport and airplane environment is something that I think all airlines are going to have to step up more to do. And that may become part of our future, just like after 9/11, security changed.
Hey, Ben, this is Phil LeBeau. Stifel is out today downgrading JetBlue and American, in part talking about the environment. They don't believe that traffic returns to pre-outbreak levels until mid-21. What's your best estimate in terms of when you say, okay, we have fully recovered? Do you think it's the middle of next year? Is it late next year? What do you sense?
Well, Phil, that's a tough one, and your guess would be as good as mine, I think. But the way I see it is obviously the second quarter is gone from economics standpoint. The third quarter is going to be very, very difficult. As you know, Phil, to fill an airplane, you don't fill it overnight. You have to have that booking curve. So 4 to 6 weeks before the flight starts, you have to have very active bookings. So if the airline wants to fly full in the fourth quarter, it's going to have to be booking aggressively in August and September. And I'm not sure that I see that right now. I think the fourth quarter of this year has a better chance to be more normal. I don't mean as high as last year, and I don't mean sort of at full levels, but I think the fourth quarter this year is the first quarter that the airlines can think that maybe there can be some semblance of positive cash flow and a sign that things are coming back. The Stifel report that said no full traffic till the middle of next year, I'm not sure what they're looking at to say that, and that sounds far to me, but maybe it won't by the fall. I certainly think it's the fourth quarter at the earliest. Maybe it does go into the middle of next year.
Hey, Ben, what do you think of Spirit's decision that just came out a day or two ago that it's no longer going to be flying flights into the Northeast areas in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut? Is that a move that you would have made if you were still the CEO there?
Well, I think it's a pure economic answer. I think, like Phil said, nobody's flying in and out of those airports right now, other than triage kind of people, and so. Airlines don't want to fly flights that are going to lose cash from them. In this situation, every airline entered this situation with a certain strength in their balance sheet, with a certain amount of cash. They know when they come out of this, they want to be as strong as they possibly can be after months and months and months of very low revenue and low traffic. And the way to make that happen is to lose as the least amount of cash possible in that time. So when Spirit cancels flights into New York and Hartford and places like that, it's because they don't see anybody traveling there. And so they're saying we can save more cash by sitting the airplane. So I think it's purely an economic decision. I don't get the sense they're making a political statement or a social statement at all. I think they're saying if we can make money, we're going to go there. If not, we're not.